There exists a single sentence that has carried more men from poverty into wealth, from obscurity into influence, from hopelessness into triumph, than any other formula I have ever encountered. One sentence. Not a book, not a lecture, not a system, just a line of words so powerful that when repeated with faith, it has remade lives entirely. You may doubt me already. You may whisper, how could one sentence possibly change the whole direction of a month, a year, a lifetime? That is exactly why I will not give it to you this instant. If I spoke it now, you would shrug, call it too simple, and discard the wisdom as you have discarded so many other truths. It would pass through your mind like a breeze through an open window, noticed for a second and forgotten forever. And yet, this sentence is the very key to your breakthrough. If you will hear me patiently, if you will let me build the case, you will not only understand the power of this one line, you will never again live a day without it. Imagine this. 30 days from now, you wake in the same house, the same city, the same body, but everything feels different. The dread of bills that once pressed upon you is gone, for money now seems to move towards you instead of away from you. The tiredness in your mornings is gone, replaced with a strange excitement that surges even before you rise from bed. Your family looks at you differently, not because of what you have yet achieved, but because they feel in you the calm certainty of a man already destined to achieve. All this from a sentence, spoken daily, repeated with faith. It engraves itself upon your subconscious until you cannot help but act in harmony with it. The sentence becomes a magnet, and you, the instrument through which it pulls opportunity, allies, and fortune into your orbit. Let me show you the other side, lest you think this exaggeration. Picture yourself 1 month from now living as you do today without this sentence. The same doubts whispering, the same bills mounting, the same regrets piling like stones upon your chest. Another 30 days gone, stolen by hesitation, wasted by drifting. A whole month lost, never to be returned. That is the cost of ignoring what you are about to hear. I have studied men all my life, and I tell you, the difference between those who rise and those who drift is not luck, not birth, not even education. It is the daily language impressed upon their own minds. The poor speak words of fear, and they reap fear. The rich speak words of definiteness, and they reap wealth. The timid say, I wish. The bold declare, I will. But this sentence, this one formula, is the distillation of every law I have ever written. It is desire made definite, faith spoken aloud, command impressed upon the subconscious, gratitude expressed before evidence. It is the union of all these laws in one breath. That is why it works. That is why men who once wandered aimlessly find themselves suddenly lifted as though unseen hands carried them. I repeat, if I gave it to you too soon, you would sneer at its simplicity. You would mutter, that cannot be all. And in your muttering, you would miss the treasure. That is why I withhold it until you are ready to hear it not as a phrase, but as a command to your destiny. When you hear it, you may laugh at first. But if you obey me, if you write it down, speak it morning and night for the next 30 days, if you hold it until it burns in you, you will look back upon this month as the dividing line of your life, the month when everything changed. One sentence, that is all. And before I finish, it will be yours. Men laugh at simplicity. They expect the keys to fortune to be hidden in great volumes, buried in secret libraries, reserved only for scholars. Yet the greatest laws are always simple. Desire is simple. Faith is simple. Decision is simple. Persistence is simple. And yet because they are simple, men despise them. They drift, searching for complexity, while the keys to riches lie at their feet. One sentence, spoken daily with faith, has the power to bend the subconscious into obedience. This is no exaggeration. Every fortune I have studied, every empire I have witnessed, every triumph I have recorded, was born first in words repeated until they became law. One sentence engraved upon the mind reshapes identity, commands conduct, and directs destiny. Andrew Carnegie understood this law. He drilled definiteness into his men, forcing them to repeat their purposes until hesitation was burned away. He knew that no vague man could lead an industry, and so he demanded they speak boldly what they desired. That repetition created leaders of steel, not only in the mills, but in their own souls. Henry Ford also obeyed this law. He declared his belief in an automobile for the masses long before the world believed him. He repeated it to himself, to his engineers, to his critics. They called him mad, yet his persistence in repeating his vision bent reality itself. The world yielded, and Ford's name became a monument to decisiveness. Affirm this with me. I speak destiny into being with each sentence I repeat. Say it aloud. Repeat it until you believe it. For the mind, once impressed by repetition, cannot resist. It accepts without question, acts without delay, and compels circumstances to obey. Your sentence becomes your identity, and your identity becomes your fate. The tragedy of most men is not lack of opportunity, but contempt for the small daily command of words. They scoff at affirmations. They despise repetition. They call it too easy, too childish, too insignificant. Yet by their neglect they drift. Their subconscious is filled with the language of fear and excuses, and their lives mirror that speech. I have interviewed men broken by poverty. Their words were always the same. I cannot. It is too late. I am unlucky. Others have more. They did not fail by chance. They failed because they repeated failure until it became law. Their tongues commanded poverty, and their lives obeyed. Their prison was not the world, it was their own language. In contrast, I have studied the rich, the successful, the powerful. Their words differ. They declare, I will, I must, I know. They speak definiteness when others drift. They repeat faith when others repeat fear. They engrave success into their subconscious until it drives them like a hidden engine. Their words create their world, and their world obeys. Affirm again, I speak destiny into being with each sentence I repeat. Each word is a seed. Each repetition is water. Each day of persistence is sunshine. Soon the harvest appears, not by miracle, but by law. For the subconscious mind cannot resist constant command. It is the silent servant, always obeying, always creating. This is why one sentence can change everything. Spoken once, it is nothing. Spoken daily, it is power. Spoken with faith, it is law. Spoken with gratitude, it is magnetism. Spoken with persistence, it is destiny. The man who scoffs will drift another month. The man who obeys will see transformation begin at once. Do not underestimate the weight of this truth. I withhold the sentence itself not because it is complex, but because it is simple. If I spoke it now, you might shrug, dismiss it, and forget it. But if you understand first why one sentence can remake your life, then when I give it, you will treasure it as the law of your own destiny. This is the beginning of your breakthrough. One sentence, spoken daily, repeated with faith, engraved into the subconscious, carried into action. It will reshape your identity, command your conduct, and summon riches into your orbit. Treat it not as a phrase, but as law. For law it is, the law by which all fortunes are built.
We have prepared a powerful companion sheet for this one-sentence formula, so you can write it, sign it, and obey it for 30 days. It is available inside our private network for those ready to commit. If you are not yet ready, you may enter our free network and draw from the other resources there.
The subconscious mind is the silent partner of every man's life. It does not reason, it does not argue, it does not distinguish truth from falsehood. It accepts whatever words are spoken to it with repetition and emotion. Every phrase you utter, whether in strength or in weakness, becomes law to this hidden mind. And what the subconscious accepts, life obeys. Understand this well. Every word spoken is a command. When you say, I cannot, your subconscious records it as fact and directs your actions toward failure. When you say, I will, it accepts that as law and drives you forward. The subconscious never questions, it only obeys. Your tongue is the master, your subconscious the servant, and your destiny the result. Edison grasped this truth, whether he called it by name or not. Though he failed thousands of times, he refused to speak the language of defeat. When the world laughed, when critics jeered, when evidence denied him, he still declared, "I will succeed." His subconscious absorbed this as law. It drove him to persist until the light itself burned. The drifting man lives under the curse of careless speech. He mutters to himself, "I am unlucky. I am tired. I am weak. I am poor." He thinks them harmless, yet each is a command. Spoken daily, they engrave themselves upon the subconscious. Soon his actions follow, his opportunities shrink, and his life confirms the words he spoke against himself. The decisive man guards his words with vigilance. He speaks only what he desires to become. He declares, "I am strong, I am confident, I am destined for wealth, I am the master of my fate." At first it may feel strange, but repetition makes it natural. The subconscious accepts it, and once accepted, it bends every action to fulfill it. Affirm this with me. I command riches. I control my mind. I am master of my destiny. Do not whisper it as a hope. Speak it as a decree. For the subconscious responds not to weak wishing, but to firm command. Each repetition engraves the law deeper until your very nature begins to act as though it were already fulfilled. Negative repetition is as powerful as positive, but destructive. I have seen men talk themselves into ruin, not by the blows of life, but by the words of their own tongues. They rehearsed excuses until excuses became their creed. They spoke of poverty until poverty became their companion. They repeated fear until fear became their master. This is why most men drift. They never take command of their language. They leave their subconscious open to every whisper of fear, every murmur of doubt, every careless phrase. And the subconscious, obedient and unquestioning, builds a life to match. They reap not what life denied them, but what their own words demanded. Rockefeller understood this law in his own way. Long before he ruled oil, he carried himself as a master of destiny. His words reflected certainty. His tone radiated confidence. His declarations commanded respect. Rivals could not explain it, but his subconscious had already accepted victory. His life was simply catching up to the law written within. Andrew Carnegie demanded definiteness of his men for the same reason. He knew that vague words created vague lives. He pressed them to speak their aims clearly, boldly, repeatedly. Once their subconscious accepted these commands, hesitation vanished. They became men of steel, not only in industry, but in character. Words forged them before wealth crowned them. Affirm again, I command riches. I control my mind. I am master of my destiny. Say it upon rising. Say it before rest. Say it when doubt whispers. For every repetition deepens the groove upon the subconscious. And once the groove is deep enough, your life runs upon it as surely as water runs in a riverbed. Do you see now why the one sentence I will soon reveal carries such weight? It is not merely a phrase. It is a command to the subconscious, a decree to destiny, a law impressed upon the hidden mind. Spoken daily with gratitude and faith, it engraves itself until your very soul cannot act against it. And once the subconscious obeys, life itself must follow. This is why the rich grow richer and the poor remain poor. The rich speak wealth until their subconscious accepts it, and so they act in harmony with it. The poor speak poverty until their subconscious accepts it, and so they act in harmony with that. Both are obeying the same law. Both reap what they repeat. Affirm once more, I command riches. I control my mind. I am master of my destiny. Make it your habit, your creed, your command. For the subconscious does not argue, it obeys. It does not choose, it receives. It does not doubt, it creates. And whatever you speak to it daily becomes the law of your life. So I tell you plainly, guard your words as you would guard gold. Speak only what you desire. Repeat only what you demand. Engrave only what you wish to reap. For the subconscious, though silent, is the builder of your destiny. And the tongue, though small, is the tool by which you write its commands. This is the reason why one sentence, repeated daily with faith, can change a man's entire life in a single month. Not because the words themselves are magic, but because they are law to the subconscious. And the subconscious, once commanded, bends action, thought, opportunity, and circumstance to fulfill what has been engraved. The law I now unfold to you is one of the most misunderstood in all of life. Men believe they must wait until they hold success in their hands before they can feel gratitude. They say, when riches come, then I shall give thanks. When the position is mine, then I shall rejoice. When I see evidence, then I shall believe this is drifting, and it is error. The truth is exactly the opposite. Gratitude must come before evidence. You must give thanks for the thing you desire as though it were already yours. Speak of it as though attained. Feel it as though present. For by this act you impress the subconscious with certainty. And what the subconscious accepts, it compels life to deliver. This is the secret hidden in the sentence you will soon repeat daily. It joins desire, definiteness, and faith with gratitude spoken in the present tense. The words are not, I hope I shall have. The words are, I am so happy and grateful that I have it now. The difference is destiny itself. One is drifting, the other is command. John D. Rockefeller practiced this spirit. Long before he possessed vast wealth, he carried himself with the calm assurance of a man already entrusted with riches. His gratitude was not postponed until fortune appeared. It was expressed in his conduct, in his confidence, in his words. That gratitude drew allies, opportunities, and the very empire he envisioned. Abraham Lincoln, too, walked in gratitude before evidence. Though mocked, defeated, and scorned, he carried himself as though chosen for a great task. He gave thanks inwardly for the opportunity to serve his nation even before the nation would accept him. That spirit sustained him through defeat after defeat until the day his destiny was revealed. Affirm this with me now. I give thanks for my success before it arrives, and in doing so, I draw it nearer. Say it aloud, for gratitude unspoken is weak. Gratitude declared engraves itself deeper into the subconscious. Each repetition bends your mind toward faith, and faith is the only condition under which infinite intelligence answers. Men who wait to feel gratitude until after results appear remain trapped. Their subconscious receives only doubt, for their words are, I do not yet have it. It may never come. These commands engrave hesitation, and hesitation produces drifting. The world reflects their unbelief, and they live forever waiting for a tomorrow that never comes. But the man of faith expresses gratitude before evidence. He declares, I am so happy and grateful that I have my definite aim now. He does not wait for the bank account to swell, for the title to be printed, for the applause to be given. He speaks it as though already attained. His subconscious accepts it as law, and his actions align to fulfill it. Edison's gratitude was seen in his persistence. Each failure was not a reason for despair, but a cause for thanks. He thanked infinite intelligence for revealing another method that did not work, for it brought him one step closer to the method that would. Gratitude kept him alive through thousands of defeats until light conquered darkness. Henry Ford's gratitude was in his certainty. He spoke with thanks for an automobile for the masses long before a single factory proved it possible. He acted as though the world had already yielded. That spirit of gratitude drew the right allies, silenced the critics, and turned ridicule into applause. Gratitude before evidence became empire. Affirm again, I give thanks for my success before it arrives, and in doing so, I draw it nearer. Let this phrase be your daily companion. Write it upon your mirror. Speak it before you sleep. Declare it upon waking. Each repetition engraves certainty deeper until doubt has no room to whisper. Gratitude and doubt cannot live in the same mind. The devil thrives where gratitude is absent. He whispers, "You have nothing. You are unlucky. You are forgotten." The man who listens repeats these lies until they become his law. But gratitude expels the devil. When you say, "I am grateful now," you silence his voice. You declare faith, and faith destroys fear. Gratitude is both shield and sword. I have seen men rise from obscurity by this one practice alone. They began to speak thanks for opportunities unseen, for riches yet unearned, for influence not yet felt. Their tone changed. Their step grew firm. Their eyes shone with certainty. And soon, circumstances bent to match their words. Gratitude before evidence is the magnet of fortune. Do not despise the simplicity of this truth. Most men do. They laugh and say, "How can mere thanks create wealth?" Yet they fail to see that wealth is first created in the mind. Gratitude engraves certainty, and certainty directs conduct, and conduct commands destiny. Every fortune you admire began as an attitude of gratitude long before evidence appeared. Affirm once more, "I give thanks for my success before it arrives, and in doing so, I draw it nearer." Repeat it now, for each repetition weakens doubt. Say it tomorrow, for each repetition strengthens faith. Say it for 30 days, and by the end you will feel the change within. Gratitude spoken daily is faith in action. The formula I shall reveal to you works because it binds desire with gratitude in the present tense. It does not say "I shall have," it says "I have now." That one word, now, bends the subconscious into obedience. It commands immediacy. It directs action. It awakens energy. It drives persistence. And soon, what was spoken becomes seen. This is the third signpost of your breakthrough. Gratitude before evidence. Practice it, and the world will bend to your faith. Neglect it, and you will drift another month, another year, another lifetime. Gratitude is the magnet, and without it you are powerless. With it you are unstoppable. Now that you have seen why words command the subconscious, why repetition engraves law upon the mind, and why gratitude must precede evidence, you are ready for the sentence itself. I give it to you, not as a phrase to be admired, not as poetry to be enjoyed, but as a command to be obeyed. This is the distillation of desire, faith, gratitude, and definiteness in one breath. The sentence is this: I am so happy and grateful that I have the object of my definite chief aim now. Thank God I made it. Do not underestimate it. Do not dismiss it. These words are the essence of all that I have taught. If you will write them, repeat them, and believe them, they will engrave success upon your subconscious and bend your life to match. Notice the first words: I am so happy and grateful. These feelings are the vibration of faith. They declare that what you speak is already yours. Happiness and gratitude are the language of men who believe before they see. They are the only atmosphere in which faith can breathe. Without them, the subconscious doubts. With them, it obeys without question. Then, that I have, not I will have. Not someday it shall be mine, but I have. This is the present tense, and it is the heart of the formula. The subconscious accepts commands as though already fulfilled. If you speak in the future, it delays. If you speak in the present, it acts at once. That is why this sentence bends the mind so quickly. Then, the object of my definite chief aim. Here lies the core. You must know exactly what you desire. Vague wishes produce vague results. Clear aims produce clear outcomes. Andrew Carnegie demanded definiteness of his men for this reason. He knew that without a definite chief aim, their subconscious had nothing to obey. This sentence works only when you have chosen. Then, now. That one word is a hammer blow. It commands immediacy. It engraves urgency. It refuses delay. It declares that the aim is not distant but present. This trains the subconscious to act in harmony with decisiveness. It drives out hesitation, compels courage, and directs all faculties toward present attainment. Now is the word of destiny. And at last, thank God I made it. This is gratitude sealed. It is the exclamation point of faith. It is the man speaking as though already victorious, already delivered, already crowned. And by speaking so, he engraves the feeling of attainment into his subconscious. Gratitude completes the law, for it declares, this is finished. I am already there. Affirm with me. I am so happy and grateful that I have the object of my definite chief aim now. Thank God I made it. Speak it slowly with emotion. Feel the truth of it as though already yours. Each repetition is a stroke upon the mind. Each day of obedience drives it deeper. In 30 days, your subconscious will accept it. And once accepted, your life will bend to fulfill it. Andrew Carnegie once told me that if a man writes down his definite aim, speaks it with gratitude daily, and persists until his subconscious accepts it, nothing on earth can prevent him from achieving it. This sentence is the very embodiment of that instruction. It is the condensed philosophy of success, placed in the palm of your hand. Henry Ford lived by this spirit. Long before the Model T appeared, he spoke of it as though present. He declared to friends, to investors, to himself, that he would build a car for the masses. Critics laughed, but his subconscious obeyed. His words engraved law upon his mind, and his actions followed until the world yielded. Thomas Edison also used this principle. He told his assistants, even after countless failures, that the invention was inevitable. He said it as though certain, as though already present. That conviction seeped into his subconscious, drove his persistence, silenced doubt, and delivered triumph. He spoke as though it was, and at last it was. Affirm again, I am so happy and grateful that I have the object of my definite chief aim now. Thank God I made it. Repeat it morning and night. Write it upon paper. Place it where your eyes must see it. Speak it aloud with faith. For words written may fade, but words spoken with feeling engrave law upon the hidden mind. The drifting man will scoff. He will say, that cannot be enough. It is too simple. He will laugh, and he will remain as he is. But the decisive man will obey. He will repeat it faithfully, and in 30 days he will feel the change begin. In 90 days his life will bend to match. In a year the sentence will have carried him into a new destiny. This is the moment of revelation. The formula is no longer withheld. It is yours. Treat it not as a phrase, but as a covenant with your destiny. Repeat it with reverence, with faith, with gratitude. For by it you command your subconscious. And by commanding the subconscious, you command your life. Now that the sentence has been placed in your hands, I command you to prove it by the simplest of tests. For 30 days, without exception, repeat it morning and night. Write it, read it, speak it, and feel it until your subconscious accepts it as law. 30 days is not long, but it is long enough to separate the drifter from the achiever, the weak from the strong. Understand this, the law does not fail. If you give the test half effort, you will reap half results. If you give excuses, you will reap excuses. If you give obedience, you will reap destiny. The man who cannot govern his lips for 30 days is unfit to govern wealth. But the man who masters this ritual will begin to feel a power stirring within him that no critic can silence. The first days will be the hardest. Between day 1 and day 5, you will hear the whispers of doubt. The devil will say, this is foolish. It is childish. It will not work. Your old subconscious commands will resist. They will try to cling to the language of fear, poverty, and hesitation. Expect this resistance. It is proof that the law is working. Between day 6 and day 15, you will notice change. The words will begin to feel less foreign and more natural. Your tongue will not stumble so much. Your mind will not resist so fiercely. You will begin to sense a faint confidence rising. Doubt will still whisper, but you will also feel faith answering back. The battle is being fought within you, and faith is gaining ground. Between day 16 and day 30, you will feel identity itself shifting. You will rise with more energy. You will carry yourself with more certainty. You will notice opportunities where before you saw none. People will respond to you differently, sensing authority in your presence. This is not accident. It is your subconscious beginning to accept the new law as reality. Affirm with me, I persist until my subconscious accepts riches as my reality. Speak it boldly. Write it on your walls. Say it when fatigue sets in. For persistence is the price of mastery. Without persistence, no law works. With persistence, every law yields. The man who persists daily will awaken after 30 days a different man than he was before. Thomas Edison persisted through thousands of failures because his subconscious had accepted success as law. He had written the sentence upon his spirit long before the lamp burned. That is why he could endure when others quit. Persistence carried him where talent alone could not. His victory was not sudden. It was the harvest of repeated faith. R.U. Darby learned the cost of quitting too soon. He stopped digging 3 feet from gold because he yielded to doubt. Later, in insurance, he applied the opposite. Each no from a prospect became fuel. He persisted in repeating his aim until he became one of the most successful in his field. The law had not changed. His persistence had. Affirm again. I persist until my subconscious accepts riches as my reality. This is your creed for 30 days. Repeat it when you are tired. Repeat it when you are mocked. Repeat it when results seem invisible. For the subconscious is stubborn, but it cannot resist constant command. Each day you persist, the groove is cut deeper until it becomes identity. Do not think 30 days is long. Men waste 30 years drifting without aim, repeating weakness until poverty becomes their inheritance. What is 30 days of discipline against 30 years of regret? The price is small, but the harvest is great. 30 days of obedience can become the dividing line of your life. The month everything changed. The drifting man will fail this test. He will repeat the sentence for a week, then forget. He will call it too hard, too silly, too slow. He will quit, proving he never truly desired. The decisive man will obey. He will persist daily, and by the end of 30 days, his subconscious will begin to shape a new life. The law will reward him because he proved worthy. Andrew Carnegie once told me that if a man writes down his chief aim and repeats it daily with faith, in time his subconscious will accept it, and life itself will rearrange to deliver it. This is all the test demands. Write, repeat, persist. The law is no respecter of persons. It obeys whosoever obeys it. Affirm once more, I persist until my subconscious accepts riches as my reality. Do not merely speak it, live it. Discipline yourself to never miss a day. For one missed day weakens the groove, and hesitation reclaims ground. 30 days of unbroken obedience will prove you to yourself, and the man who proves himself once will never doubt again. Remember this, you are not testing the law. The law is testing you. Infinite intelligence already knows it works. The question is whether you will obey long enough for it to show itself in your life. If you quit, you prove yourself a drifter. If you persist, you prove yourself a master. 30 days decides which one you are. This is the 5th stage of your breakthrough. Obedience for 30 days. Not theory, not hope, not wishing. Obedience. Each day of repetition is a brick laid in the foundation of destiny. At the end of 30 days, you will not yet have finished the building, but you will know with certainty that the walls are rising. And that certainty will carry you the rest of your life. Once you have repeated the sentence faithfully, once 30 days of obedience has begun to bend your subconscious, a new phenomenon takes place. Your thoughts, words, and actions begin to align. You will discover that you cannot speak as you once spoke, cannot act as you once acted, cannot think as you once thought. You begin to live in harmony with the new law engraved within. This is not imagination. This is law. The subconscious, once commanded, does not remain idle. It directs your faculties toward its aim. It influences your choices, guides your instincts, strengthens your will. It draws to you the people, circumstances, and opportunities that match the sentence you have repeated. You may call it coincidence. I call it infinite intelligence answering. Henry Ford embodied this law. Once he accepted the vision of an automobile for the masses, his entire conduct aligned. He did not drift between ideas. He did not waste time in hesitation. His subconscious had accepted the aim, and so every decision, every risk, every invention bent toward its fulfillment. His life harmonized with his belief until the world had no choice but to follow. Charles Schwab's confidence was born of the same principle. When he stood and gave his bold speech on steel consolidation, it was not arrogance, it was harmony. He spoke as though the empire already existed, and because he lived in that alignment, Carnegie recognized him as the man to carry the task. His subconscious had already prepared him. Affirm this with me. I live as the man who has already attained my definite aim. Say it with conviction, for this is the key to harmony. Once you declare it daily, your subconscious compels you to act as that man. You walk taller, you speak firmer, you work with more discipline, and the world, seeing your certainty, begins to treat you as the man you have declared. The drifting man speaks words of faith, but lives by habits of fear. He repeats affirmations without obedience in conduct. His subconscious is not yet convinced, so his life remains divided. He wishes for one thing, but acts toward another. And so, he receives nothing. Harmony between word and action is the dividing line between dreamers and achievers. The decisive man aligns his actions with his affirmations. He says, I am grateful that I have my aim now. And then he works as though it were so. He declares wealth and then manages his affairs with the order of a wealthy man. He declares leadership, and then speaks with the tone of a leader. Harmony turns words into flesh. Andrew Carnegie demanded this from his associates. He knew a man who spoke definiteness but lived in vagueness could not be trusted. He chose only those whose speech and actions matched, men whose conduct proved their declarations. That harmony created a team that conquered the steel industry, for their lives were unified under their definite aims. Affirm again, I live as the man who has already attained my definite aim. Write it, repeat it, engrave it. For once the subconscious accepts it, your very nature shifts. You begin to refuse habits that contradict your aim. You adopt discipline, courage, persistence, not because you force yourself, but because harmony compels you. This is the true purpose of the 30-day test, not merely to repeat words, but to engrave them until they produce alignment. Once aligned, your life becomes a magnet. Opportunities appear where none seemed before. Allies are drawn by your certainty. Critics lose power, for your confidence silences them. The world bends to the man who lives in harmony with his declared destiny. Thomas Edison lived in such harmony. He spoke invention, and his actions followed invention. He declared persistence, and his conduct embodied persistence. Even in defeat, he acted as though victory were inevitable. That harmony between belief and action made him unstoppable. No failure could defeat him, for his life was already aligned with success. Rockefeller, too, embodied harmony. His conduct was orderly, disciplined, relentless. He repeated wealth as his aim, and then lived each day with the habits of wealth, efficiency, precision, boldness. His subconscious had accepted mastery long before his rivals realized it. That harmony drew fortunes to him as naturally as a magnet draws steel. Affirm once more, I live as the man who has already attained my definite aim. Feel it until you carry yourself differently. Speak it until your tone changes. Repeat it until your presence commands respect. For the subconscious, once aligned, produces outward results, and outward results confirm inner faith, creating a cycle of power that grows unbreakable. Do not underestimate the importance of this stage. Many repeat affirmations but never live in harmony with them. They speak wealth but live in waste. They declare health but live in weakness. They demand success but live in excuses. Such men receive nothing, for their subconscious is never convinced. Harmony is proof of belief. I tell you plainly, once you live as though the blessing were already yours, it will become yours. Infinite intelligence responds to definiteness, not to hesitation. It responds to faith, not to doubt. It responds to gratitude, not to complaint. Live as the man of your aim, and life will deliver the aim to match. This is the law. This is the sixth step of your breakthrough, living in harmony with the formula. Repeat it daily, obey it in conduct, align your habits, and the world will bend to your faith. For once your subconscious believes and your actions confirm that belief, nothing on earth can withhold the blessing prepared for you. Fear is the most destructive enemy of man. It steals ambition, paralyzes action, blinds vision, and chains men in mediocrity. Fear has ruined more lives than poverty, more dreams than sickness, more fortunes than war. And yet fear has no substance of its own. It survives only where it is repeated. Fear is nothing but faith spoken in reverse. The subconscious does not distinguish between faith and fear. It only obeys repetition. If you say, I cannot, it accepts defeat. If you say, I will, it accepts victory. If you say, I am weak, it engraves weakness. If you say, I am strong, it engraves strength. Fear is simply the result of repeating the wrong sentence until it becomes law. That is why this formula is so powerful. Spoken daily, it replaces fear with faith. It silences the whispers of doubt by engraving gratitude and definiteness in their place. When you say, I am so happy and grateful that I have my definite aim now. Thank God I made it. The subconscious has no room left for, what if I fail? The two cannot live together. Abraham Lincoln endured endless criticism. Newspapers mocked him. Rivals despised him. Friends doubted him. If he had repeated their words, fear would have conquered him. But he held to his greater aim, speaking within himself the preservation of the Union until it became law. That sentence drowned out the chorus of fear, and history remembers him for it. Thomas Edison silenced ridicule in the same way. Critics laughed when he failed thousands of times, but he did not repeat their laughter. He repeated persistence. He said, I will succeed. His subconscious accepted victory, and victory became his nature. Fear cannot survive in a mind where faith is repeated daily as law. Affirm with me, I fear nothing, for my blessing is already mine now. Speak it boldly, write it, repeat it until your subconscious accepts it. For once fear is expelled, courage fills its place. And once courage fills the subconscious, every action, every thought, every decision bends toward victory. Fear flees from faith. The six ghosts of fear haunt most men all their lives. Fear of poverty keeps them small. Fear of criticism keeps them silent. Fear of ill health keeps them weak. Fear of loss of love keeps them desperate. Fear of old age keeps them timid. Fear of death keeps them enslaved. Yet each ghost is driven out by the sentence of faith spoken daily. John D. Rockefeller was ridiculed relentlessly. Men called him ruthless, corrupt, dangerous. If he had feared criticism, he would have shrunk. But he drowned those voices by repeating his aim until his subconscious was deaf to ridicule. His fortune was proof that fear cannot rule a man who rules his own words. Henry Ford was mocked by engineers who called his vision impossible. But he did not repeat their impossibility. He repeated possibility. He declared his automobile for the masses, and his subconscious obeyed. In time, the world itself obeyed. Fear of ridicule was silenced by the louder voice of faith spoken daily with definiteness. Affirm again, I fear nothing, for my blessing is already mine now. Say it when bills arrive. Say it when critics mock. Say it when failures sting. Each repetition cuts fear's chain and strengthens faith's grip. The subconscious, once convinced, cannot hold fear and faith together. Faith expels fear as light expels darkness. The drifting man speaks his fear daily. He says, what if I lose? Why, what if they laugh? What if I fail? Each repetition engraves fear until it rules him. He hesitates, he delays, he drifts, and his blessing passes to another. The decisive man repeats faith instead. He says, I already have it now. And his subconscious drives him to live it until it is seen. Infinite intelligence does not reward fear. It responds only to faith. That is why your daily sentence must be spoken with gratitude and certainty. Gratitude proves you already believe. Certainty proves you already claim it. Fear cannot survive in a man who repeats gratitude as law. The blessing cannot be denied to such a man. Affirm once more, I fear nothing, for my blessing is already mine now. This is your shield against the 6 ghosts. Each time you repeat it, the chains weaken. Each day of persistence, the ghosts flee further, until at last you awaken one morning free to think, free to act, free to live as the man of your definite chief aim. This is the 7th step of your breakthrough. Defeating fear with the sentence, not once, not occasionally, but daily, for fear returns with every sunrise, but faith, repeated as law, drives it out. The man who persists in gratitude and definiteness cannot be enslaved. His subconscious is armored, his faith unshakable, his destiny certain. 30 days, 1 month. That is all that stands between drifting and destiny. Men imagine transformation requires years, yet I tell you a single month of obedience to the right law can divide your life into 2 halves, before and after. Before you were uncertain, hesitant, tossed about by fear. After, you are definite, confident, unshakable, moving in the direction of riches. Do not scoff at this. Every law of success is proved in obedience. A man does not need decades to prove gravity, nor centuries to prove fire burns. He needs only a single act. So it is with this formula. 30 days of obedience is enough to prove its power. If you obey faithfully, you will never again doubt. If you disobey, you will drift still. The first sign of breakthrough will not be money in your hand, but power in your spirit. You will rise with energy where once you dragged. You will face problems with confidence where once you trembled. You will speak with authority where once you hesitated. Others will notice it before you do. They will say, something has changed in you. That change is identity shifting. Andrew Carnegie experienced such months. He would retreat, set his definite purpose in writing, and repeat it daily until his whole being burned with it. By the end of such seasons, he was unrecognizable even to those closest to him. His tone, his eyes, his certainty, everything testified that the law had taken root. Within months, steel obeyed him. John D. Rockefeller also marked his life by such decisive seasons. When he determined to master oil, he devoted himself with definiteness. Within a short span, his conduct, his associations, his opportunities all shifted. Men thought fortune smiled suddenly, but it was not sudden. It was the harvest of a mind engraved with certainty through daily repetition. Affirm with me now, this is my month of breakthrough. I declare it, I live it, I am it. Say it not weakly, but with conviction. For the mind, once convinced, shapes conduct to match. And once conduct aligns, destiny follows. 30 days of such conviction will separate you forever from those who drift. The second sign of breakthrough is courage. You will notice fear losing its grip. Situations that once paralyzed you will now stir boldness. Criticism will no longer silence you, but sharpen you. Rejection will no longer break you, but drive you. This is the proof that the subconscious has accepted your sentence. Fear is expelled, and faith rules. Abraham Lincoln felt this during the darkest hours of the Civil War. Defeat piled upon defeat. Critics howled for his resignation, yet he carried within a conviction that the Union would not perish, that faith gave him courage to endure when lesser men would have collapsed. Such conviction does not come from chance. It comes from living in harmony with a definite aim until it becomes law within. The third sign of breakthrough is clarity. Decisions that once seemed complicated will now appear simple. The subconscious, once impressed with definiteness, directs thought with precision. You will know what to pursue and what to ignore. You will waste less, hesitate less, drift less. Your energy will gather into a single stream, and that stream will cut through the rock of circumstance. Thomas Edison possessed such clarity. Though thousands of experiments failed, he was never confused. His aim was definite. His faith was engraved. He did not drift into new projects when difficulty arose. He persisted until light appeared. That clarity was not luck. It was the result of a subconscious trained daily by faith-filled repetition. Affirm again, this is my month of breakthrough. I declare it. I live it. I am it. Each repetition engraves the truth deeper. Each day of obedience bends your subconscious more fully. 30 days of such discipline creates a certainty that cannot be erased. You become a new man, armed with faith, burning with desire, hardened with persistence. The drifting man wastes months as though they were nothing. He spends 30 days in complaint, in excuses, in hesitation, and reaps nothing but regret. He says, perhaps next month, perhaps next year, perhaps someday. But someday never comes. His life becomes a string of wasted months, until at last he reaches old age and whispers, if only. The decisive man seizes a month as the dividing line. He says, this is my breakthrough. I declare it now. He repeats the sentence faithfully. He persists daily. He obeys without excuse. At the end of 30 days, he is changed forever. His identity is altered, his subconscious engraved, his destiny secured. He reaps because he obeyed. Rockefeller, Carnegie, Edison, Ford, Lincoln, Schwab, all had such breakthrough months, periods when they set their minds in definiteness, repeated their aims daily, and lived as though already victorious. Their lives turned sharply at such times. What the world called sudden fortune was simply the harvest of 30 days of faith, gratitude, and definiteness obeyed without fail. Affirm once more, this is my month of breakthrough. I declare it. I live it. I am it. Let this be your war cry. Let it burn upon your tongue each morning and each night. For what you repeat, you become. And what you become, you attract. And what you attract, you receive. The law never fails when you obey it. I warn you, critics will laugh. Friends will doubt. Your own mind will resist. They will say, how can 1 month change a life? How can one sentence alter destiny? Pay them no mind. They are drifters. They mock what they do not understand. Their laughter is proof you are on the path. Persist, and in 30 days you will silence them with results. Do not delay. Begin tonight. Write the sentence, speak it aloud, repeat it morning and night. Guard your tongue from contradiction. Refuse words of fear, complaint, or doubt. For 30 days, give yourself wholly to this law. Then, when the month has passed, look back and see the dividing line, the month before you obeyed and the month after. This is your hour. This is your season. This is your test. If you obey, 30 days from now, you will not recognize yourself. You will carry certainty where once you carried doubt. You will radiate confidence where once you trembled. You will live as the man of your definite chief aim. And once you become that man inwardly, the world will soon make it outward. Affirm again, this is my month of breakthrough. I declare it, I live it, I am it. Say it until you believe it. Believe it until you act it. Act it until you live it. Live it until you see it. 30 days, that is all. And when the month is done, you will look back and say, that was the month everything changed.